And welcome back to the Deep Rock Sports Extra and the Red Dirt Roundtable. Joining me now is Terry Brown and James Caulfield. Ish Engel stepping in for Elton Willard and Don Amon. And guys, let's talk a little bit about last week's game with Cleveland Tigers. Wow, the game was really over at halftime. Decisive win, 35-7 the final score. Terry, what are your thoughts?
You know, Mike, 334 yards total offense in that game. Ian Jones had 119 of those yards. I felt like he had a great command of the game, great command of the offense. Really set a good tone for the game.
Well, I wasn't able to be there, but I was able to watch it right there on Tiger Football Live, and it was great, guys. Watching all the way from Dallas, it was a great game. Defensively, Tigers looked solid across the board the entire game. I want to shout out to Kyler Patterson, pick six, looked great, run down the field. But the entire defense just was tough all the way through.
Oh, yes, definitely. And one of the things I was really happy with was special teams play. People still keep insisting on punting to Trey Morris, and he's making them pay. And, you know, special word of mention to Sean Bosworth. Didn't even come close to missing a single PAT this week. Looked really good, looked more like the Sean we had last year. I was really happy about that.
Yeah, great play all the way around. It was an excellent win for us because we talked about the whole game, Elton and I, about the Twitter chat between the players. I mentioned the fact that the superintendent of Cleveland had a bet with Melissa because they have a class together, and Saturday when they had to meet for class, he didn't even bring his head up off the desk because he was so ashamed of the beating they took down there. Like we've all said, it was such a great game all the way around. We said it there, if we could get on board first, smack them in the mouth, it was going to be a whole different ball game. And when it was 14-0, you looked across that sideline, they were already hanging their heads. Also, I want to say, excellent officiated game. Not like the game we had last week. There was a lot of flow, and when you have flow and rhythm, good things happen. So with that being said, I'm going to say the guy that stood out for me the most, and there are a lot of guys did. You guys mentioned Ian, you mentioned Trey. But the guy who just seemed bigger than life on that field, he's a big kid himself, and that's Levi Herron. Got his hand in on a couple of balls, pushed that quarterback out a couple of times, made a couple of key tackles. So Levi Herron is going to be my MVP this week.
And my MVP is going to be Sean Bosworth. I think Sean, he was a GOAT last week, and I think he needs this special praise that, hey, you did good, we stepped up, and you didn't let last week hold you down.
And I haven't picked him, and I'm going to steal yours. I know this is yours, so I'll give credit to you. But I have to go with Ian Jones strictly because of the improvement he's made and just how solid he did throughout the game.
And mine was Ian Jones as well, 119 yards rushing alone. You know, Ian Jones had some big runs in that game. Huge runs. Also set the Tigers up for some really great first down, first down moves down the field. I'm going to get together and officiating. I want to talk just briefly about that. I turned around and told the broadcast crew, Elton and Coach Amon, that was part of the state championship crew out there working that game. And you can see a distinct difference between officials who have a lot of game experience, a lot of challenging game experience. They managed the game extremely well. When they had some penalties, it was very obvious what those penalties were. There was one late in the game that they picked the flag up and they waved it off and went on. It had zero impact on anything. Plus, you didn't see any plays thrown or flags thrown that impacted plays that were far away penalties,
right?
That had no impact on the play. So really good job by those guys.
Yeah. Well, hey, I first want to congratulate you guys for the teamwork you guys did. James and I were gone last week, and Elton and Terry and Don fills in, and you guys did just a great job. So great job by all of our crew. Just down there on the field too with everything, and so. Really appreciate that. You guys did a great job, and I got to watch it too on RDMG TV. Yep. And great job by our production crew and everybody involved there. I think too, got to give it up to the defense as a whole. I mean, really could have been a shutout. I mean, let them score 7 points late or whatever, but I mean, just to kind of help them feel good a little bit.
Well, Coach Shoup talked about that, and we like there were some young kids out on that field. Young kids, not only in age, but young kids in varsity experience. Right. There were some kids that might be juniors or even seniors that never stepped foot on the varsity field. And I think Coach Shoup said it best. Hey, we're up 35-0. There's no reason to get one of our kids hurt. Right. One of our starters hurt. Not that he's putting those kids out to get hurt. That's not what he meant. Right. But hey, he's going to give them a chance to say, hey, I stepped on the varsity field and I got to play. And, they were running their first team. And, if you can't score on the first game.
And that was our JV squad. They rolled our JV squad out there, and they still did a great job. They just let them score on it, and they had to work for it. It's not like they just did anything fantastic. So
Well, and it's kind of like what you said, Terry, too, about the officials managing the game. Our coaches do a great job of managing the game in that aspect as well, because they get the other players involved in there, get them some experience. I mean, that goes a long way for the future of Cushing Tiger football.
And you know, and when you're down on the sideline and you're listening to those coaches, and a lot of times we're standing down there on the away games, they manage the games very well. Communication is very excellent amongst the coaches. It really is.
Well, I mean, you just think about who carried the ball. Houchins carried the ball, Parker carried the ball, Beeler carried the ball, Ian ran the ball. We had Trey. We had a lot of people involved in that ball game. One guy that wasn't involved, number 23. Dakota Lee. Hurt his shoulder. He was cleared to play. Talked to Coach Morgan right prior to the game. He was cleared to play, but they just wanted to hold him back till this week when we play our first district game against Perkins. And I happened to see Dakota today at the fair. So he's all right. He's walking around.
Okay, guys, let's take a look at coming up with the Highway 33 Throwdown. We kind of coined that term last year, and it's a big game, a big rivalry with Perkins. It'll be a fun game. They've got a new coach, a new offense they've installed over there, a lot of good things happening, so it should be a fun matchup again as we go to Perkins this year.
Absolutely. Perkins is coming in 2-1. They've had wins over Claiborne Sequoia. They've also had wins over McLeod, suffered a defeat to Hera at home. Of course, Hera's a 4A ball club, but did suffer defeat there, but they are airing the ball out this year.
Yes, they are, and a new defense this year. Not only new offense, but a new defense, 4-2-5 defense that they're learning. That really plays into this. They got beat by Hera bad, and so Hera came in, and Hera has not had a real, big losses, but man, they came in and really put it on them. It's interesting to see how this is going to play out. I look for Perkins to be a little bit better than what they looked like last week, but I really look for Cushing to come out strong in this.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be definitely an interesting matchup here with new system in place and everything. Special teams haven't seen too special, but they also haven't had any glaring holes, which is the best you can ask for. So I think Perkins is going to be solid in that area as well.
Well, everything I've heard from Perkins with his new coaching staff is that the kids have bought into it, and that's always important. And so if the kids are buying into it, they're going to be ready to play. So it's not going to be like we're going to roll into a Perkins team that is not ready to go. However, I've said it before, if our backs can get to the secondary, they are hard to stop. And even our receivers, we are just hard to stop. It seems like we have just a ton of speed this year, and we also have a ton of I say this all the time, we have breakaway speed. We have distance, I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. But
Separation.
Separation. We have a lot of separation distance. So if they're running a 4-2-5, if you can get by the 2, you're going to the house. So I look for us to play a little smash mouth football. Again, it's one of those teams like Cleveland. One thing we didn't talk about in our Cleveland segment was Cleveland's usually a little dirty. So this is going to be another little smash mouth, probably Twitter going on game.
Do you expect Perkins to make some adjustments, though? I mean, seeing that a little bit and seeing what we've got.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you're always going to make adjustments, and I'm sure they didn't run everything against Hera that they're going to run against us. But I'm just telling you, Cleveland went into that game thinking they were going to smoke us, and they were having the parade on Saturday and the whole 9 yards. And we said it before the game, and we said it during the game. Once we hit that secondary, if we can get past that second level, you're not catching us. You're not catching us. So with that, I guess I'll make my prediction. First district game, I'm going to go 35-21 Cushing.
Okay.
I like that. I think we're more up in the realm with Hera and the Hera type teams, and looking at who Hera's played, who McLeod's played, who Sequoia's played. Just looking at those, I think we're more amongst those guys. I think the score is going to be closer to what we saw here. I agree with the 21, but I'm thinking we're going to actually be able to put up 42. So I'm saying 42-21.
Okay.
And I look for the emotions to come in. I look for them to both be first, district play, conference play, so they're ready to go in there. I'm going to say 35, but 14.
Okay.
Wow, I'm gonna go 42-41.
Whoa!
I think it's going to be a big game there. I really do. Bruce Williams coming in over from Broken Bow. He was there for 10 seasons. Not only being there for 10 seasons, but he had a ton of success there as an offensive coordinator for 2 seasons before he came to Perkins. So I think it's going to be a lot more exciting than what we're maybe giving.
Well, that'll be interesting. I tend to think, though, that Coach Hancock has really got the defense fired up.
Yeah.
And I think
And you know-
that they are looking for a shutout, and I think that they're going to pull out all the stops to make that happen against Perkins.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot. So I'm a little more lopsided on that. I think it's going to be maybe a 17-0 shutout, and giving really the kudos to the Tiger defense, because I think they've really got it going, and I think their confidence is there, and so we're going to go with that 17-0. Let's talk real briefly about other notables around the district.
Okay.
We've talked a little bit about that, so kind of how we size up with the district so far.
Well, Kingfisher suffered a defeat last week to the Hennessy Eagles. Went and had a win this weekend, so Kingfisher remains tops on our district. But Cushing's number one in the district right now. We're number one based on points. So if we can stay in there and stay strong, we have Kingfisher coming here. I think it's going to be an interesting district setup. So,
And I said this in the beginning, Cushing's a lot better team than what it looked like by the numbers,
Right.
and now that's starting to show.
Oh,
The separation of the points and it really starting to show. So Cushing's a great team, and that's really going to show throughout the district.
Yeah, Coach Shoop's been here long enough. These kids have come up in his system. He's no longer having to teach kids his system. Donald mentioned the speed. I think another thing we saw briefly some hints of in the Cleveland game, we got some shiftiness in those guys too. They pulled some interesting moves that made guys fall over. So
Real quick, Don, 30 seconds. What do you think?
Well, I just think, Coach Shoop said it earlier in the year. The guys from the West didn't want us to be there, and there was a reason why. And I think we're all seeing it now.
That's right.
I think the other thing too was Bristow beat Manford last week.
yes.
So that's
yes.
I mean, you just see a lot of things that are
Yes.
shaping up. there.
Heritage Hall got beat.
Heritage Hall got
beat.
So it's wide open. Hey, this is going to wrap up our Red Dirt Roundtable look ahead at next week. Be sure to make the trip over to Perkins next week. RDMG TV will be there. Thanks for joining us, guys. Great job again. We'll see you there. We'll be back with more of the Deep Rock Sports Extra.